I'm Neil from the Starling Tribune, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of the individual host. Check out all the other great podcasts at gonnageek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Farrell and welcome to episode 18 of Nerd Alert News. It's hard to keep on top of all the nerdy news that floods the internet, but that's where I come in. I'm going to do all the hard work, I'm going to find the news you need to know, and you can learn all about it here on Nerd Alert News. So with all that being said, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me in this long-winded, by long-winded I mean 30-second intro. Why don't we just roll into the headlines? This week's first story is courtesy of comicbook.com, who report that the Punisher series is rumored to be in development at Netflix. Reports are that Jon Bernthal's take on the Punisher is being so well received by executives, a spin-off series for the character and its star are now in development. The series would spin directly out of his appearance in Daredevil and would be another Marvel TV and Netflix collaboration. So here's one thing to keep in mind. There has been no official source that has been disclosed, and both Marvel and Netflix have made no comment or confirmed this report. So everyone's keeping very quiet. Here's why it might be true though. Bernthal's received a ton of praise from producers, writers, his fellow actors on set, and executives alike for his portrayal of the Punisher. Everyone loves what he's doing on set. In fact, even Jeff Loeb talked about this earlier this week when he did an interview with comicbook.com where he said, Jon Bernthal's Punisher is extraordinarily memorable in every way. Sounds to me like a ringing endorsement. I think this is what a lot of us were hoping was going to happen when we saw just the first previews of Jon Bernthal as Punisher. If you watch The Walking Dead, which I did, you know Jon Bernthal knocks it out of the park playing the role of Shane. He's fantastic. He's able to go between sympathetic and creepy and insane just at the drop of a hat. I am really curious to see what his Punisher ends up being like on screen. I think Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle is inspired casting and based off of everything coming out of the Daredevil set. I think it's a good fit. If it's really that good, it just makes sense to make another series for Netflix. After all, the Marvel Netflix train is just a rolling right now. The question is, where does this fit in? We know there's an Iron Fist series coming up, a Luke Cage series, and a Defenders miniseries. Are they going to be able to do Punisher before those, after those? We have no idea, but stay tuned. Eventually we're going to hear something about what the actual fate is of the Punisher TV series. Until we hear any official confirmation, I would take it with a grain of salt, but a fairly large size grain of salt, because if it's, like I said, if it's truly as good as is being rumored, they're going to make it because Marvel and Netflix both like making money. Next up, we'll go to a Marvel movie, even though it's technically a 20th Century Fox movie, but details. The Deadpool movie is officially rated R. This comes courtesy of comingsoon.net. 20th Century Fox's take on the Marvel Merc with a Mouth has officially been rated R, they say. The MPAA said in their own words, for strong violence and language throughout, sexual content and graphic nudity. Basically everything you expect from a ridiculously over-the-top Deadpool film. That's great news. In fact, a lot of fans were clamoring for the fact that, the Deadpool movie, it has to be rated R. That's how you get all of Wade Wilson's wackiness properly portrayed on screen. We know it's going to have to be a bloody movie. If you've seen the Red Band trailer, you've seen just how bloody it is. And we know that Deadpool's fairly unfiltered and uncensored in the things he says. He says a lot of things in the trailer I, for one, cannot say when I record this show. But I look forward to seeing that in theaters. So we fans kind of got to win making this a rated R film. Well, maybe not. There's a petition up on change.org right now requesting a PG-13 version of the film. They're not requesting the film itself be PG-13, but a specific cut of the film be released out at PG-13. You might be asking, now why would we want to do this? I don't understand. So let's get into some information here. This petition was launched by YouTube star Grace Randolph, who's the creator and host of Beyond the Trailer and Think About the Ink. Randolph is no stranger to comics, though. She's written a few, such as Justice League Unlimited, Superbia, as well as starring on Marvel's The Watcher. She's got a lot of background on it. So why did she put this request out? Well, she's got a YouTube video out that describes this, plus it's in the Change.org petition. Her concerns come from a young 8-year-old fan who'd gotten in touch with her and said he really wants to see the Deadpool movie, but his mom's not going to let her because of all the violence, cursing, presumed sexual conduct and activity, things like that. So she kind of says if there was a PG-13 version, he could, and his mom Christina could be a superhero rather than a supervillain who doesn't let him view the movie. So I kind of understand where she's coming from. And as of this recording, there's 2,858 signatures. There's a good deal of people that do understand this. At the same time, you might get it with a Blu-ray or a DVD. I think that's more likely. But at this point, the movie comes out in less than a month. I don't think 20th Century Fox has time to recut and then also release a PG-13 version of the movie alongside the Rated R movie. And I think trying to release both a PG-13 and Rated R movie at the same time is only going to hurt them. Instead of having sold-out showings, which I'm hoping we get, you'd have split showings where the Rated R showing is 2/3 sold out. And then you've got the 1/3 group is the people that brought their kids to go see the Deadpool movie. So splitting it up, I understand the want. I just don't think it helps in the long run. I think it would be great to be done on a Blu-ray or a DVD when that comes out. And maybe, I don't know, I'm not trying to be controversial here, but Deadpool's really not a kid's property. I know Marvel's kind of inserted him in some of the Spider-Man cartoons and things like that lately, but the character's always been fairly crass, violent, over the top. I'm not sure if I were a parent, I'd want my kid reading most of the Deadpool content that is available in comic book form right now, because it's not exactly kid-friendly. That's why I'm kind of struggling with this request here. I understand the want for it, but it's not really a character that's geared towards kids. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys have thoughts on this one, please send them in to me. Send them to nerdalertnews247@gmail.com. Tweet at nerdalertshow or tweet directly at me. Let me know what you think about this topic. Maybe I'm completely off base, and if I am, I would love for you guys to let me know. So let's stay on the Marvel trend because we've got a good thing going here, guys. Next story comes courtesy of IGN that reports Jessica Jones has been renewed for Season 2. That's right, we've got 2 Marvel series on Netflix news pieces this week. Today was part of the Television Critics Association press tour. Netflix announced they've renewed Marvel's Jessica Jones for a second season comprised of 13 new episodes. Awesome news. Here's the thing, we know nothing about what's coming or when this is even coming. We know that Daredevil Season 2 is set to come out on Netflix on March 18th. Followed by Luke Cage, which stars Mike Coulter, who we already met on Jessica Jones. We know it's in production. It's supposed to come out later this year. So 2016, we're covered. We know what's coming. The third Netflix and Marvel series, Iron Fist, recently found its showrunner. No casting's been announced for this show. But here's the thing. Are we going to get Iron Fist Season 1 and Jessica Jones Season 2 before the Defenders miniseries, which is basically a team-up of all these things? I have no idea at this point, but I gotta say, it is a glorious problem to have that I'm going to be sitting here on the internet and complaining for the next couple of years. Oh, I don't know when Jessica Jones is coming out because I have to wait and get Iron Fist first or the Defenders first. How awesome is this? You went back and you told 14-year-old Chris that eventually he'd be watching TV shows on the internet revolving around superheroes. He'd have never believed you. So I kind of feel bad getting impatient for these shows to come out nowadays because I think back to past me who would have just been ecstatic to hear the news that's happening. And I feel kind of bad, but I think it's awesome news. Jessica Jones Season 2 is coming. I was expecting we'd hear something, but not necessarily this soon. I'm really curious who the big bad is going to be for Season 2, though. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they kind of set it up so Kilgrave goes away for Season 2. And they've also set up a trend that the enemies on the Netflix series are pretty much one and dones right now, because we've already seen from all the previews of Daredevil, that is, that it doesn't look like Wilson Fisk is coming back. We might get an episode where he cameos. I'm hoping for it, but there's no confirmation. It looks like the new bad guy is the Punisher. So, one and done villains. Who do you all think is coming in to be Jessica Jones' new villain? I'll be honest, I have no idea, in part because I'm not hugely spun up on the character. I've read some of the Alias comics, but not a ton. Maybe I'll start reading some of those and I can try and brainstorm and come up with some ideas of who might be the big bad in Jessica Jones Season 2. Let's wrap up the headlines and let's talk about some video games here. This comes courtesy of BleedingCool.com, who reports that Star Wars Battlefront will not include DLC from Star Wars The Force Awakens. It seems DICE has decided not to go down that route. Taking to Twitter, the official account of the game answered to fans saying that the original trilogy is the focus and not to expect any Episode 7 content. Directly, here's the tweet. They said, "Our team is focusing on the original trilogy for this release of Star Wars Battlefront." That was it. Now, if you read into that, you could be hoping, maybe this is just PR speak because they haven't announced any DLC, and we'll see. Who knows? I mean, my guess is they were developing this game and they didn't know enough about Episode 7 to really start developing DLC for it. You gotta remember, J.J. Abrams, Lucasfilm, and Disney were on top of everything, trying to make sure there were no spoilers that got out there. I mean, nobody had any clue, other than just some fan speculation, how important Rey was going to be. And she ended up being a very big deal, but they kept a lid on it. So it would not surprise me if we're not getting any Episode 7 DLC for this game. In part, I'm also thinking it could be because they go, hey, next year we're just going to release a new Battlefront game that is all about Star Wars Episode 7, the First Order versus the Resistance. You can play as Kylo Ren or you can play as Rey, all of these things. That seems more likely to me that instead of DLC, they're going to build a whole game focused on this new Star Wars saga that a lot of people have come to love. I mean, we know a lot of people love it. Look at the box office numbers. And I honestly have to say, I'm not that bummed if they don't do Episode 7 DLC. It's not for the reason you're thinking. I think it'd be fun to play, but I still haven't bought Star Wars Battlefront, guys. It's just, it doesn't appeal to me that much. Like I said before, I played the open beta, and it was fun, it was flashy, but there's just other games that are more interesting to me, and I'm tired of these games that are primarily primarily multiplayer focused without much of a single player story. Had there at least been like a serviceable single player story of about 6 to 8 hours, I might have been tempted by Battlefront because I've seen it on sale as low as $35-$40. If there were a good single player mode, I'd be all over it, but I just don't want to go online and get my face pounded in by a bunch of 12-year-old kids who are calling me names the entire time because they've been playing the game for a month straight and I've been playing for 10 minutes and don't know what I'm doing. Maybe that's on me, I don't know. I'm more holding my fingers crossed for Episode 7 specific game going forward, or even better, give me Knights of the Old Republic the third game. That would be fantastic. I would pay good money for another Star Wars RPG. I would much rather have that than another shooter. That being said, that is going to wrap up the headlines for this week. I do have one more story for you. It's my in-depth, my focus story, and it's also about gaming. I kind of paired the two gaming things up. This comes from Amazon. Polygon reports that Amazon Prime members will now get 20% off game pre-orders. Pretty awesome perk. The service now offers Prime customers a 20% discount on all pre-orders and new releases, Amazon announced. Here's the really interesting part. Amazon defines the new release window as the first 2 weeks after a game's launch. The deal they're offering is valid only for physical copies, but it does include special editions. It does not apply to packages such as console bundles. So, remember the Star Wars Battlefront bundle that came out for PS4 that everyone was all about? This would not have worked for that. Customers will not see this discount until checkout, though. So if you click on the listing, you're not going to see the price at the top of the screen reflect that 20% off. Interestingly enough, though, I went and looked at a game that's coming out. It was the Marvel Lego game that comes out at the end of the month. And while the price was not reflected on the top of the screen, that 20% off, they did have a graphic further below that said Prime customers, you get it for, I want to say about $45-$46 with a 20% off deal. So if you're looking for games like that, you can see the prices below, but be assured all these new releases will be 20% off. Amazon is applying this deal to all existing Prime member pre-orders. So if you've had something pre-ordered for like a year now that's coming out in a few months, your price will get adjusted. You'll get the 20% off. I think that's awesome. It does appear to be a permanent new addition of the Prime subscription. This is not a limited time offer. So you might be asking yourself, why is Netflix doing this? I mean, they've got to make plenty of sales on their own. Why are they going to give me 20% off on these new game releases? Here's the theory I have that a lot of other media sites also have. This seems to be an effort on Amazon's part to counter the Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked and GameStop Power Up Rewards Pro programs. If you're not familiar, those are programs with these vendors where you can pay a certain fee to be part of a club, an exclusive group. With the Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked, you pay about $30 a year, you get a magazine, and you get 20% off all new release games. Pretty cool program. GameStop's Power Up Rewards Pro initiative is basically $14.99 a year, comes with a free subscription to Game Informer magazine, but you don't get discounts on new games. You get discounts on pre-owned games, and you get additional bonuses when you trade in games, so you get extra money that way. The Amazon program is basically included in your Prime package, but now you get 20% off all new release games for up to 2 weeks after they come out. That's the big defining piece here. These other programs don't do that. So we ran down the prices of Amazon and GameStop's programs. Let's talk about Amazon Prime. Right now, Amazon Prime is $99 a year. Side note, they're running a special this weekend for first-time customers. If you've never been a Prime customer before, I think you can get it for either $77 or $72. I'm not sure which, so if you're not a Prime customer, now's a chance to sign up for cheap. So what all is included in Amazon Prime? We've obviously talked about the 20% off on all new release games. You also get their Netflix-like Prime Video service, which has some exclusives like Transparent and Man in the High Castle. Basically, it's similar to Netflix, but they have their own exclusives, and they have some things that are similar with Netflix, but same basic concept. You can go watch a bunch of streaming videos that are pretty good. In addition to that, you get access to Amazon Prime Music, which is basically Amazon's version of Spotify. There's different radio stations, there's different albums you can download, and as long as you're a Prime customer, they're yours to consume as much or as little as you want. You also get unlimited photo storage with Prime Photos. I'm a customer that uses that service. I'm an amateur photographer. By that I mean, I take photos for fun because it entertains me. I have no aspirations of being some great photography whiz or anything, but my backup solution right now is upload it all to Amazon because I can store as many photos as I want on Amazon. I think I have something like 8 gigs of photos backed up to Amazon included with my Prime subscription. And of course, don't forget that being an Amazon Prime customer gets you 2-day shipping on pretty much everything you order from Amazon. So you're getting a lot of cool stuff for $99 here. So from my standpoint, I'm already bought into the Prime system. So I will obviously be using this to buy more video games. And something I hadn't realized that I did when I started researching this, if you're a Prime subscriber, you were already getting free launch day delivery on video game pre-orders. So now I get 20% off on these games I pre-order, and they'll be there the day they come out. You're just saving me from having to go drive to Best Buy, to GameStop, to Walmart, or any of those things. Amazon, you've got me on board as a Prime customer. I'm staying on board. I'll be buying a lot more games from you because it just makes sense for me. Now, before you start thinking, why is Chris shilling for Amazon? I'm not. It's just a service that works well for me. And from my standpoint, this added perk of 20% off on all video games that are new purchases, or new releases rather, I think is huge. And I think the biggest defining difference that what Amazon has compared to these other guys, I mentioned it earlier, is that 2-week window they define as the new release window. Now I can wait for a game to come out, I can read the reviews, I can talk to my friends who have played it, and within the next couple days, I can go on Amazon, buy it, and get 20% off. I can't go to any of these stores and do that. That is a huge, massive advantage that Amazon has. The trade-off is if I wait a couple days to see the reviews, I then have to wait 2 days for it to come to me in the mail. But you know what? I'll save myself $15 and do that. I'm perfectly cool with that. So one last patented Chris Farrell conspiracy theory that comes out of this story. We're seeing Amazon do this 2-week window for new releases. I'm not going to be shocked if we see GameStop and Best Buy adopt a similar practice going forward where you can buy within the first 2 weeks and your subscription will give you 20% off on these games. It wouldn't shock me to see it happen, but nothing has been confirmed on this front. It is all pure speculation. But again, I'm super stoked, and I hope other people that are Amazon Prime customers are also super stoked to hear this. So as I wrap things up, I did want to remind you, if you want any more information on the stories I've covered this week on Nerd Alert News, you can go read the show notes for yourself. You might be asking, how do I find these show notes? There's 2 really easy ways to do it. It's in the episode notes for this episode. Just pull it up, click the show notes button that you see in the text, or go directly to shownotes.nerdalertnews.com. You'll find a Google Documents embed there that shows all of the news for the past 18 episodes. Open any of those notes, you'll find the direct links to everything that I've told you about today, and you can read it for yourself. As things wrap up, don't forget you can find the show over at nerdalertnews.com. If you want to get in touch with me, email me nerdalertnews247@gmail.com, tweet at nerdalertshow, or go to facebook.com/nerdalertshow. I bring that up because, like I said at the top of the show, I would love to get your opinions on what you think about a potential PG-13 cut of the Deadpool movie. Am I just being ridiculous and thinking that, it's not that necessary, hold it off for the Blu-ray? Or do you think it would actually do really well in the box office? Let me know what you think. Hit me up, and we'll talk about it on the next show. Also, you guys, your feedback is really important to me. It helps me shape the show going forward. So any of those contact methods above, if there's something you want to see me talk about or you want to have me handle differently on here, please let me know. I'm happy to try and change things up and try a few new things here and there. I do have to say, though, I've been having a lot of fun doing this so far. 18 episodes in, and I'm still having a blast on it. It's a very different experience for me doing the elusive solo podcast, as I've called it, because I don't have a lot of interaction with people while I'm doing it live. I get great interaction from you listeners after the show. I've gotten some great comments on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes reviews, and they're great. Please keep them coming. I think that's going to wrap up this latest installment of Nerd Alert News, though. But don't worry, I'll be back real soon with your next Nerd Alert. Bye, guys. You've been listening to Nerd Alert News. For more information, head on over to nerdalertnews.com. The music used in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.